How's it going, Yankee fans? Welcome back to Fireside Yankees with Alex and Ryan. Hope you guys had a fantastic weekend. Some great football, especially yesterday. Obviously, Eagles and Commanders in the NFC Championship game. Not exactly what we want to see as Giants fan on this podcast, but nonetheless, it is what it is, and some really good football nonetheless. Some good weather, some snow, always fun. But today we're going to take a look at the Yankees again, and really the effects of the Dodgers getting Tanner Scott. Now, if you watched our last episode on how we kind of like sneakily stole Devin Williams from them, yeah, well, like as I was uploading that video, they signed Tanner Scott. I'm like, you got to be freaking kidding me. How many times, Ryan, has this happened this offseason where I'm uploading a video and they make a move to make the video almost irrelevant? So the Yankees did end up stealing Devin Williams from the Dodgers, but the Dodgers said, hold my beer, I'm going to go get Tanner Scott, who's arguably just as good. So, it's a tough situation for the Yankees, but in my opinion, if you're going to kind of like foresee a possible World Series where the Yankees get back and the AL's weak, and you get back and you have to take on the Dodgers, and they got Tanner Scott now as their closer, you kind of need to have another big bat in this equation. I think that we can all agree that before they signed Tanner Scott, the Yankees needed to get another big bat in their infield. Now it's more important than ever. You're not going to win a shootout with the Dodgers. You're not going to win most of these games with the Dodgers with the amount of talent they have. Roki Sasaki, they're just it's an embarrassment of riches, man. If you're going to get lucky, if you're going to be competitive, you got to have an above-average player playing in the infield. There's no such thing as DJ LeMahieu running it back. There's no such thing as Oswald Peraza being that answer, or Oswaldo Cabrera, or Yorbit Vivas. There's no freaking way the Yankees can go into this season thinking about the playoffs, which is what the Devin Williams move was, Ryan, was thinking about the playoffs, and say to yourself, we feel comfortable with what we have. So I want to preach patience. I want to say the Yankees haven't ruled themselves out. They're kicking tires. They're turning stones. But they got to do something, and at some point. So, Ryan, I want you to give your opinion. Tanner Scott, obviously Dodgers, super team. I think the Yankees won't have a chance to beat them. We need another piece here, man.
Yeah, the Yankees need to go out and supplement with a good infielder. And, I wrote yesterday about Ha-Seong Kim. I'm a big Ha-Seong Kim guy. I've talked about him time and time again. I think he would make this team, notably better. I know he's not going to be ready for opening day, but, again, we're talking about just kind of the totality of the season. It's not just about April. You don't win the World Series in April. You can't win your division in April. You can certainly lose it in April, though. So, that's a little bit of a concern there. But overall, Alex, they need an infielder. They need to acquire someone to improve that infield. They're not going to be able to just get by with whatever they have right now on that depth chart. As you mentioned, there's no reason to believe that an infield that has whether it's Oswald Peraza, Oswaldo Cabrera, DJ LeMahieu, maybe Jorbit Vivas. There's no reason to believe that quartet of players are going to result in a productive position for the Yankees. They need to improve. They need to, absolutely have to. And I'm going to go as far as to say, with the way the infield market has moved, I expected the infield market to move a little bit quicker. I expected Alex Bregman to already be signed. I expected, Ha-Seong Kim to already be signed. With these players not signed, with these players still available on the market, Alex, I'm under the opinion that the Yankees should get an impact infielder because this market has so many of them currently available who they may sign for below market value. If the New York Yankees settle for Jorge Polanco with the way that some of these contracts are kind of projecting to be, I will feel as if the New York Yankees disappoint their fan base, let the fan base down, and let the existing players on the roster down. Yankee fans should not be willing to accept anything less than like a 3 to 4 WAR player in the infield because there's 2 of them out there. 2 with failing markets, with a lack of serious interest from various teams across the league. There's just no reason why this team shouldn't add an impact infielder. Now, if they want to go through the trade market, Brendan Donovan would obviously be my top choice. And look, maybe the Cardinals, given the arbitration situation they're in with him right now, maybe they're willing to deal him. And if they are, you've got to make an aggressive bid. You've got to at least ask, all right, what's it going to take to get a deal done? If they say Jason Dominguez plus, all right, you don't get him, you move on. But They have to be active. They have to be exploring all avenues. And I'm sorry, the fourth threshold cannot be a de facto luxury salary cap for this team. The Dodgers don't treat it as that. The Mets won't treat it as that when they get past it at some point over the next year or so. You have to be willing to go to like 330, 320. Like, if for the right player, you have to be willing to do it. I'm not saying you spend it just to spend it. You spend it to make your roster better. And if Bregman's out there, if Kim's out there, if you feel like your farm's good enough to go get a guy, you use that avenue, fine. But you didn't trade prospects for Bellinger because you wanted to eat money, because you and I both kind of perceived it as holding on to prospects to maybe make a move this winter to improve the roster. Who's the best prospect they've traded? Caleb Durbin? Not a top 10 guy in the organization. So they haven't traded a notable prospect, a guy in the top 10, top 15 range. They haven't, given out, they haven't given out, not that they haven't given out mega deals, they have, but they haven't they're not close to the Dodgers in payroll. So, and you make as much as the Dodgers do. So again, I kind of stemmed this all to say, if money was going to be an issue at $304 million or $302 million, why didn't you trade more prospects to have the Cubs eat money, right? And if money wasn't going to be an issue, why is money an issue? So they're operating in a way that's they're operating in contradiction to themselves. Either they don't want to make the necessary moves to go out and improve through trading prospects, or they don't want to make the necessary moves to go out and improve financially. They have to pick a lane. They have to do one or the other. If they don't, I'm going to have problems with the way this offseason ended up shaping out.
Yeah, I mean, I already feel like, plan B from Juan Soto, they've executed pretty decently, in my opinion. And I think, when you look at it in a general term, you look at Max Fried. I mean, he gives you one of the best run prevention arms in the game paired with Garrett Cole. You have one of the best starting rotations in baseball. Dodgers are right up there, too. You look at Cody Bellinger. He profiles perfectly for Yankee Stadium. I mean, this is a good defensive player with versatility, and his bat plays. He's going to hit 24, 25 plus homers in Yankee Stadium. And, he may strike out more than Soto. He will strike out more than Juan Soto. He will not walk as much as Juan Soto. He is not the caliber of talent that it won't even be in the same ballpark. But he gets you some of the way there. And the defense is good enough that it helps cover up some liabilities. Juan Soto was generational. You lose him, you got to piece together a better team. Losing Gleyber Torres, second half Gleyber Torres was phenomenal. You can't put in a Jorge Polanco and expect him to replicate what Gleyber Torres did. You just can't, coming off his patellar tendon surgery. So, you look at Ha-Seong Kim, and we like Ha-Seong Kim. But does he go through stretches like Gleyber did? He's not going to be a primary leadoff guy. He probably isn't a great leadoff man for you, but he can steal bags and he can, get on base at a decent clip. And he's a great defender at second base.
I'd also like to add in regards to Jorge Polanco, it would be really stupid to have let Gleyber go out 1 year, $15 million to sign Jorge Polanco, who has all of the same flaws with less injury insurance. There's a greater, there's a greater risk of the guy not being, there's a greater risk of the guy not playing 150 games, and he may not be as good of a hitter. That would be so stupid. That would be so stupid. I'm sorry. It would be stupid to the point where I genuinely question the process of the organization if they opted to sign a guy who's more injury prone and has all of the same faults as Gleyber Torres. I like Jorge Polanco, but again, you know what I mean? It's not it just would feel so stupid and so weird.
Yeah, I mean, Polanco, we've seen the power, but it's not. It would be a strange thing. Like you said, Polanco or Brendan Rodgers, great depth pieces. Great utility options. Totally fine with that. But if you're going to spend money, do it for a starter. Spend it on a starter. If you're going to consume a contract, and this is going to lead us to Brendan Donovan because, Ryan and I were discussing him before the podcast, and if you listen to Fireside Yankees, you can't get away from Brendan Donovan. The St. Louis Cardinals did something really stupid, guys. They decided, there were talks about them coming to, a compromise on a long-term contract, that would extend beyond arbitration. And not only did they not come to a conclusion there, not only did they not find common ground on a long-term deal, the St. Louis Cardinals owner decided to lowball Brendan Donovan, arguably one of their best players, not arguably, is one of their best players, lowball him in arbitration. Guys, Brendan Donovan filed at $3.3 million. That is a drop in the bucket for a player of his caliber. The St. Louis Cardinals filed at 2.8 7 or something like that, $28 million, a $500,000 difference for a player like that. And not only did they do that, they also didn't give him enough money to even make him consider a long-term extension. So if I'm Brendan Donovan right now, I'm not feeling so good about the future of this team because they're unwilling to spend. They're unwilling to take care of their best players. You know what I mean? This is multiple folds here. So if I'm the Yankees, I'm waiting patiently with, licking my lips like, all right, what else is going to happen? What else is going to shake free this offseason? Things happen. Spring training happens. What if the St. Louis Cardinals lose a pitcher? And you're like, hey, well, we have some decent pitchers we could float your way. What if we give you Will Bourne, a whole package of prospects? You know what I mean? Brendan Donovan's going to cost you an arm and a leg, but hell, I'm doing it. Why? Because if Aaron Judge and Garrett Cole expire in their primes right now, and the Yankees did not make a big move, our prospects are not going to matter, right? They're not going to matter, guys. You're not going to find an Aaron Judge in our prospect pool. You're not going to find a Brendan Donovan in our prospect pool. So if I'm the Yankees, I'm making an aggressive move now. Because if you miss out on that window, you have a 2-year window right now, I would argue, before we see some major decline in talent. Not to even mention Giancarlo Stanton, who's shown those signs of decline, got hot in the postseason. We'll always remember that run he had. But we can't expect him to run that back. We can't expect him to do that again. You know what I mean? Like, that could have been a one-off. So the Yankees cannot stop here. They have to be extremely aggressive in finding the right piece. And I commend Brian Cashman for one thing, not rushing into something. Not buying into this, we have to get it done now. We got to go find our piece now. I'm not criticizing Brian Cashman right now because I think he's doing the right thing. He's letting the market develop. He's letting the market come to him instead of him go to the market, right? That is ultimately a good decision because you said it before, Ryan, in a previous podcast. You know what happens when you wait out the market sometimes? You end up with a Blake Snell on a 1-year deal. You know what I mean? You end up with a Blake Snell on a 1-year deal in a player option, whatever. Like, sometimes waiting out the market is genuinely a good decision. And I think in this instance where the infield market is declining, there's not that much interest, not many teams willing to overpay, you might be able to get a bargain somewhere. You know what I mean? Ha-Seong Kim may come in way under market value because of that shoulder injury. Alex Bregman may be coming in at way under market value, right? So I'm interested. I think patience is great right now. We have a month until spring training. There is no rush to make a deal done, to make a deal, execute something now that may, in a month or so, look like bad business because something else shakes free. How do you think about that in terms of the patience that Cashman is showing? I think so far it's a good thing.
Yeah, I don't want them to jump into the market and make an addition just to make an addition for a player who has no market, but it has to result in landing a player. It has to result in landing an impact player. That's all I want to clarify. And there's still time for them to do things. It's not even like a time thing. How do I put this? It's not about time. It's more so, in my opinion, about availability and who's out there. If in a week from now, Bregman, Kim, Donovan, I don't know, throw out just the options that are currently available are still available, it's not on the Yankees to close that gap. It's not on them to make the market move. That would be an indication that, we just don't know what's going on. I would also like to add in regards to the infield market that, moving Marcus Stroman, the sooner they can do it, the better off they'll be because they think it'll open up more opportunities and make them a little more aggressive in the infield market. If they can move Stroman, even if it's moving, $9 million, about half of that salary, if they could find a way to do it, that'd be great. Because if they could find a way to do it, they could, subtract $9 million from the payroll. Kind of duck under to I think it's $293 million. Leiter's arbitration money will bump that up by $2 million. Maybe you trade him and try to facilitate a trade there and free up a little bit more money. Maybe you trade him with Stroman to get that money off the books. Maybe you get something back. I think trading for Christian Vasquez wouldn't be a bad idea if you traded Mark Leiter Jr. as well, because Vasquez is a bad contract. $10 million, but he's a backup catcher. The Yankees could use a backup catcher. If they, and if you trade Leiter Jr., that'll set them to $293 firm. There's no $2 million uptick in payroll that will automatically happen when Leiter Jr.'s arbitration case is filed. And that would open up money to make an addition. And if you were to add in Alex Bregman, you would only be taxed on you would subtract $8 million from the money that you paid him in terms of luxury tax money, and then you get taxed on top of that. If it's Ha-Seong Kim, who may sign a Glaber deal, a 1-year, $15 million deal, just given the lack of market value or lack of market for him at all, if you were to sign Ha-Seong Kim and it was like 1 year, $14 million, you subtract $8 million from it, you get taxed on $6 million, it's a $12 million tax on top of that. So realistically, like that's pretty savvy financial maneuvering. But I actually think Stroman for Vasquez kind of works. I don't know if the Twins would be willing to do that, but I think it kind of works. It just does. Like if you throw a lighter in there, you give him a reliever and a starter. Like Vasquez doesn't really do anything for the Twins. Like Stroman doesn't really do anything for the Yankees, but Vasquez does do something for the Yankees. He's a right-handed backup catcher who's a veteran and he's a good defensive player. Like I would like to have that on the roster. I would like to have someone who can. I'm not saying Christian Vasquez is good, but do you feel better about Christian Vasquez or Alex Jackson in like a close game? Like Alex Jackson, like he's a good defensive player. Don't get me wrong, but like he hasn't been there before. He hasn't, like, Christian Vasquez has won a World Series. He's been there, done that. You know what I mean? I think for catchers at least, there's a little bit of that, like, you want someone who's been there, done that, handled pitchers before in big games, has caught in the World Series, has caught in the postseason, because those are different. Those are just different ball games. You want Christian Vasquez is probably a guy that the pitchers are going to feel comfortable throwing to as well. I just think feel like that works. Stroman for Christian, I feel like that just works. And you free up money and you can get an infielder, or you could trade for one. You can do whatever you got to do. I would love Brendan Donovan. You know that. I would love him. I still am highly skeptical if he becomes a Yankee. But if it could happen, just explore. You just got to explore all options. I think that's kind of where I'm at with the Yankees right now. Just explore all options to improve that infield.
Yeah, I mean, also, we just recently heard that the Padres are still open to trading anyone, basically, to shed payroll. So I know a lot of people love Luis Arias, and, maybe that is still an opportunity or something that the Yankees would consider if the price comes down. I'm sure that they gauged, and, the Padres are like, we're not just going to give them away for free. We want something in return. But, another reason why waiting out the market sometimes is a good thing. An injury happens, maybe for the Padres and the pitching corps. Maybe, they're like, we really want to get rid of this money. The ownership's kind of putting pressure on them. And, the price tag comes down. The Yankees get them for not much. So, yeah, things will happen. A lot of stuff occurs. And, I mean, think about last year. Yankees lost Garrett Cole, and suddenly we were in a difficult spot. Fortunately, we had some depth in the starting rotation, but injuries happen that required you to make pivots and make moves. I mean, that's why the Dodgers ended up with Jack Flaherty, because they needed another starter down the stretch. So, this is just the case. The Yankees can wait, see what happens, and maybe someone surprises them. Maybe maybe a veteran like DJ LeMahieu. I'm just kidding. I'm not even going to say it. I'm not going to finish my freaking sentence.
I'd be scared there. I heard DJ was like, wait a minute, what?
ESPN had an article that labeled him a prominent internal option.
He is prominent
about it. It's prominently bad.
Yeah, he's prominent the same way that, like, I mean, like, are we going to consider like is the bar that low for prominence? Like, he's really not, like, it's not even that he's bad, it's that he's not a major league player. Like, he's only in the big leagues because he's getting paid so much.
Yeah.
There's 30 million reasons he's in the big leagues, and none of them have to do with baseball.
The 30 million thing is, the portion of the article, it was so contradictory, because it goes, DJ LeMahieu, the prominent internal solution, and then and then the next sentence, but he's coming off 2 catastrophically bad seasons, and I'm like, you can't call him a prominent internal option and then absolutely destroy him in the next sentence. Like, it doesn't work that way, dude. Like, we're Yankee fans. Like, we watch every game. Like, we know he stinks. So we know he's injury prone. We know his best days are behind him. And look, at one point, loved DJ LeMahieu. He was awesome. Awesome leadoff man. Great defender. He had a little bit of speed to him. He was such an underrated piece. But the second that foot injury happened, age accelerated. Like, astronomically fast.
He's just not good. Yeah, he's injury prone. He's not good. He's not reliable. He's older. He hasn't played well in 2 years. I know people are going to say, well, the pedigree, the blood. Like, you got to update your resume, man. Like, resumes, you got to update the freaking resume. Like, I imagine because in 2022, Andrew Benintendi was good. Like, come on, man. Like DJ LeMahieu hasn't been good in years, and he's old, and he hasn't shown any signs of being better. It's only been down. His WRC plus declined in 3 straight seasons.
Yikes.
He had season-ending injuries in 2 of those 3 seasons. Come on.
You wanna know who I wish was a good defender? Who'd be a perfect fit for us?
Arise? Because I would just Arise was a good defender.
Yeah. But I was actually had someone else in mind.
Who'd you have in mind?
Jurickson Profar. I wish he was a
still
good
an
defender,
infielder.
man.
That'd be
I wish
great.
he was. Dude, I don't even think he ever was an infielder. He was a horrible.
He
as
was an infielder the same way that if I could call myself an infielder. Wasn't good in infield. I'm not. Yeah. Like you could,
he played there because they had nobody else.
He was an infielder by designation, not by skill level.
It's just kind of funny because
put
any position they put him anywhere, he's horrible. Anywhere, it doesn't matter where you put him defensively. The dude is one of the worst defenders at the position in the league instantly.
He's so bad out there. You're right. That is a really good pull because it is such a shame because he has no qualifying offer attached to him. The incumbent team is kind of cash strapped in the Padres.
He's going to get $8 million a year. He's going to get so little money because of that defensive liabilities.
It is a shame. He is also a perfect kind of on-base threat. I would love him.
Is beautiful for the Yankees. Beautiful. It's a switch hitting bat. 24 homers last year. I mean, the dude matched.
I have a question. How desperate would you be to play him at third? How desperate of a situation would it take for you to play him at third?
God.
It would take it's so bad that it's not even Luis Ariz. I think he's a bad defender, obviously, but I think it's within the realm of reality that you and I would go, all right, you know what? He's on the team. He's better than what we have, right? You know what I mean?
Offensively, Profar was better than him last year.
Right. I'm not saying that I'm just saying Luis Ariz is a bad base runner and a bad defender, and I think you and I would both agree that if the Yankees got him, they are a better team than if they do nothing, right?
Right.
And I don't think they're going to get him, to clarify, but Profar's so bad.
I would rather put Profar at first and move Paul Goldschmidt to third. That's
that's how bad it's so bad that I couldn't even sell myself.
God,
on
it's so ugly.
It's so bad at third. It's so bad. Unless the Yankees had this the Yankees, look, I'll say this. They have done a great job with infield defense. Turning Jazz into a third baseman was marvelous. But Jurickson Profar is not a freak athlete the way that those guys are.
All right,
if that makes sense.
Hear me out. You stick Cody Bellinger at third, and you put Profar in center. Now he's just getting absolutely ridiculous.
Can he even play third base? Doesn't he throw with the left hand? He throws with the left arm, so he can't even play third.
True. He has to play second.
Yeah, you can't. You can't play the infield. You can only play first thing if you throw with your left hand. You can't play anywhere in the infield. Not that it's illegal.
Give that man a glove on his left hand.
Dude, just give Aaron Judge a third base glove. Dude, it's so bad.
For real. It's so bad.
The problem is just the market sucks. Even Kim, who I will say is my favorite kind of per dollar, whatever, my favorite bang for your buck. It comes with the acknowledgement that the guy is coming off of a shoulder surgery and he's a right-handed pull hitter in Yankee Stadium. It's not necessarily the best ballpark for him either. I recognize you have to acknowledge both of those things. Bregman, just the money. I would think that I think the money shouldn't be I don't think the money should be an issue, but it's going to be an issue. I don't know, man. It's just we're in such a weird, unique, abnormal spot right now.
Yeah, dude, Profar's so funny at third base. 410 innings. Last time he played third base was 2018, by the way. Jesus. -6 DRS and -5 outs above average at third base. Second base, I mean, that one season with Oakland where he had -20 defensive runs saved. It's just like watching. It's just like watching death, man.
Yeah,
and ugly. It's just his defensive stat page.
He's so bad.
It's so bad you just can't turn away. It's that type of freaking horrendous. Yeah. I wish he was better. That's the one guy I wish was better free agent right now, better defensively, Jurickson Profar. I mean, you just got to stick him at first base or DH him. That's his only role. That's his only role right now. But anyway,
or the outfield at first base.
Or the outfield. He's gonna hide it on right field in Yankee Stadium type. But obviously he's not on the table for the Yankees. Just kind of having some fun.
It's really just this market sucks for infielders. It sucks. You kind of hope someone shakes free that isn't supposed. You kind of hope someone gets traded that isn't supposed to get traded, and Donovan would slot in that. I think.
Yeah, in that profile.
I would throw
sure.
Alec Bohm in that ring as well of guys who could get traded but probably aren't going to get traded. If he shook free and the Yankees got him, I'm not sitting here pretending he's you. Yeah, I'm not sitting here pretending he's this, going to win. He's a superstar. But I think you and I will agree.
Than we have.
Yeah, I think you and I will sit back and go, "Oh, thank God we got somebody." You know what I mean? I think we'd be sigh of relief. Decent. Yeah, so sigh of relief, kind of, wipe the sweat off of your forehead and go, "Shoot, man, we got an infielder." You feel, even if he's not very good, Eagles will play first base. It's even more insurance at first. It's Yeah.
Sometimes I just go on like ESPN and I just go to rosters of bad teams and try to
Yeah,
find
and it's
somebody.
literally just like find a bad
We
team.
already
and
got
hope.
them all. We already got
Right.
Jazz, man.
And the Rays, they're not going to trade low, it seems like. So he's
Right.
off the table. You could look to Baltimore for a surplus of infielders, but like you're also trading with a team that like seems very like weird in trade. Like they don't seem willing to trade a lot to get anything back. So like, can you really get them to shake one of their like infielders free, like a Ramon Urias or something like that? And is Ramon Urias a worthwhile upgrade? I think he is, but like, I get why people would say he isn't. Willie Castro's kind of in that same breath of like, he's good, but
It's hard to find good infielders, man. Like McMahon is not very good. His second half of last year was horrible.
Yeah.
It's tough. It's tough, man. Like the Reds, I mean, Candelario is bad. Like,
maybe you get a Spencer Steer to shake free, but even then he's such a bad defensive player that like if he's not a great hitter, it's gonna be a killer. It's a killer. It's not good. Like if he's not a great hitter, he will not be a good player. He's a great base runner though, and that's valuable. The Cubs, like it would have been sick if Nico Horner got traded, but like he doesn't seem like he's gonna get traded because the Cubs don't seem to be in on Bregman all that much. That was that report that came out that they seem more willing to go internal, and then the Ricketts family was like, oh yeah, we don't really have money. Like, come on, man, you're the Cubs, you have money, you have this payroll under $200 million, you losers.
No one's
available.
My only qualm with Brian Cashman this offseason is that he traded away one of the more exciting prospects that was supposed to make an impact this year.
He traded the only prospect that could maybe win an
The only guy we could have justified starting at second base this upcoming year was Caleb Durbin. And that's why I'm still holding out hope that they're going to make a move, because he traded away his only viable option and did it for a bullpen arm who has 1 year of control.
Yeah, if he doesn't make a trade for an infielder or sign an infielder after trading Caleb Durbin, I will seriously criticize the organization, especially since I don't know what Nestor Cortez's value was in the trade market, so I obviously can't say they could have done more with that, but I would have preferred, if they don't get an infielder, and I love Devin Williams, I would have preferred to trade Nestor for an infielder and like sign a reliever, like sign Tanner Scott. Like they have to, that's the problem with not getting an infielder is that it makes you rethink like, oh crap, would I really have done all the things that they did this winter? Like what would I've, because I feel like second base is such a bigger problem than even the bullpen was. Then I would say, I would go as far as to say, Alex, I think second base was a bigger issue than first base. And getting Paul Goldschmidt would have been less important to me than getting an infielder. And I'm not saying this because Ben Rice is a superstar, but I think you and I would agree Ben Rice has a better chance of being a good Major League first baseman than Cabrera of a good Major League third baseman, Peraza, and LeMahieu combined. Like Bellinger can play first, so like getting Goldschmidt and not getting an infielder would just feel stupid. It just is stupid to me. That's what
they could have gone with like an AJ Minter instead. 2 years, 22 mil is not that bad for a guy like him. I know he's not even close to the player that Devin Williams is, but you're able to keep Caleb Durbin at second base. But I mean, look, again, I'm not going to criticize because the job's not done and there's still time. So until we find out what the end goal is here, the end result, we'll hold out hope. We'll keep things pushing. But I think we're going to start looking at more prospects moving forward, guys. So if you have anyone that you're really interested in that you want us to kind of break down and take a look at and project for the upcoming season, happy to get recommendations down below in the YouTube comment section. Make sure to like and subscribe as always. Drop a 5-star review on Apple and Spotify, and we'll catch you guys on the next Fireside Yankees episode.
Perfect.